A while back, I made a video talking about the show Amphibia and its quest for representation. I then got told in the comments of that video and on Twitter that I should check out another one of the new animated shows from Disney called The Owl House. So I watched it. My name's Josh Taylor, this is Modern Mouse, and today I want to talk about how The Owl House uses witches and demons to convey themes about love and belonging. This is a deep dive into the world of the Owl House, or as they would call it, the Boiling Isles. So if you've not seen the first season of the show, this is your spoiler warning. If you're into that, cool, let's keep moving on. And let's get one thing out of the way right off the top. This show does something surprising for a Disney animated television show. They blatantly give us queer representation between main characters. It's something that the show's creator, Dana Terrace, fought for with Disney because she herself is bisexual. Yes, in Gravity Falls, another Disney animated show, there is a gay relationship, but it's between two minor characters that are barely on the show. The Owl House makes it the main focus. In the episode Enchanting Grom Fright, Amity doesn't let anyone know who she was going to ask to the dance, but near the end of that episode, after a majestic dance with her and our main character Luz, it's revealed through a note that she was going to ask Luz to be her date. On top of this, the gender norms are tossed out the window, with Luz wearing a tux to the dance instead of a dress. It's a charming moment in a show that's full of charm. This moment becomes the pinnacle of the first season as it happens near the end of season 1. A moment that showcases love in a romantic way, but also in a way that friends have. The Owl House is an episodic show, meaning that there's a larger arc and a storyline that's been weaved throughout all of the different episodes. So when we first meet Amity, she comes off as more of a bully to Luz than anything else, and the two have somewhat of a rivalry. Through time, we learn that their rivalry is based on Amity's need to belong. She hangs out with the cool kids at school and needs to hold her place at the top of Hexside, a school for witches and demons. And yes, we'll talk about that here shortly. As the show progresses, Amity softens her shell and finds that holding her position as the cool girl isn't all it's cracked up to be. It doesn't fulfill her need for belonging, considering that Luz is so much more accepting and loving than any of her other friends are, or even her siblings. The romance that we see budding by the end of season 1 blossoms from a friendship that comes from two characters that are finding a need to belong. Amity doesn't feel judged by Luz, and that's something that she's really never had. She can make mistakes around Luz, and that's totally okay. It's a breath of fresh air for a character that seems like she hasn't really had an opportunity to breathe. And it's something that she then seeks out in a relationship. For Luz, the main character of the Owl House, she's been looking to belong anywhere her whole life. She's a Dominican-American teen girl who loves nerd culture and fantasy novels. It's a disconnect for many of her classmates and even her mother, who opts to send her to a summer camp to try and make new friends. But on her way, there's shenanigans and she ends up falling through a portal to another world, the Boiling Isles, a place filled with witchcraft and demons. It's a setting like the queer storyline that I'm surprised that Disney allowed it to go as far as it does. Because this show is less like the Melissa Joan Hart Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Harmony Salt, helping people get along since 1892. Excellent!
And it's more like the Kiernan Shipka Netflix Chilling Adventures of Sabrina show.
Say the prayer! It's your one chance. Come on! Say it with me, or you'll burn in hellfire.
There are times when this show clearly does not appeal to the Disney preschool audience from earlier in the day. It's got dark imagery and scary sound effects. The Boiling Isles isn't hell, but it definitely has that Dante's Inferno feel to it. The show also leans into that Chilling Adventures of Sabrina or even Harry Potter lore, with Luz wanting to learn to be a witch, and when a woman who takes her in, named Ida the Owl Lady, can't deliver on that teaching, she starts to attend Hexside, a school for witches and demons. Initially, she had to hide the fact that she was a human in a witch's world, but throughout the first season, she finds acceptance with her new friends Willow and Gus, as well as her friendly, romantic relationship with Amity. Throughout the first season, the school starts to accept her as the first human to ever go to the Hexside school. And as she learns new spells and befriends other characters on the show, Luz finally figures out her place in life, and she becomes comfortable in her own skin. One of the other main characters of the show, Ida the Owl Lady, she is voiced by the wonderful Wendy Malick, most notable for her time on the sitcom Just Shoot Me. She's also voiced other roles for Disney, like Pacha's pregnant wife in The Emperor's New Groove. The Owl Lady is different. She's chaotic and independent, a middle-aged witch who owns the Owl House and doesn't belong to any witches' covens. She is, more or less, her own thing, and that's just how she prefers it. She's roommates with King, a sort of dog-like creature who also looks like Cubone from Pokemon. King is the self-proclaimed king of demons, and he's probably a bit delusional in that idea, but that fits right along with Ida, who's also a bit off in her worldview of the Boiling Isles. Ida's independent viewpoint counters most of the world that she lives in, and comes from the negativity that she has towards others. Most witches are part of covens, even her sister. And Ida hides the fact that she's the Owl Lady not because she lives in the Owl House, but because a spell was put upon her that's cursed her with being an owl monster. To counter this spell, she drinks a potion every day to subside it, and her relationship with her sister isn't that great. She dislikes her sister for joining a coven, rather than being an independent person like she is, and when she meets Luz and Luz wants to learn witchcraft and go to Hexside, she dismisses the school completely. The truth is, Ida is running away from her problems rather than finding solutions. Rather than figuring out how to solve the curse that's been put upon her, she continues to subside it with medication. As we learn more about Ida and her sister Lilith and their relationship, we learn that Ida gave up the opportunity to join the coven that her sister is a part of, and because of that, she holds a grudge. And when she was a young girl, she went to Hexside and disliked it, and wrote it off as a place that nobody should go to. It isn't until Luz enters her life that she begins to open up, and no longer resent the people and places around her. Throughout the first season of the show, we get several confrontations between her and her sister, which leads to further discoveries that she opted to give a better life to her sister and sacrificed her own. And when Luz really shows interest in going to Hexside and being with her peers, Ida walks into the school and asks for them to give Luz a chance. Not only does she become a motherly figure to Luz and some of the other kids on the show, but as she grows and learns about herself, she begins to accept who she is and to let love into her life. The Owl House is definitely a female-driven show, and you can tell. Yes, there are male characters, but the show really empowers its female characters and allows those characters on the show to not only go on adventures, but to look within and grow with their emotions. When we first enter the Boiling Isles, it seems like a dark and scary place. But as each episode evolves this setting, we find the characters within it to be more welcoming and loving. Is the Owl House a show about queer representation? Yes, of course it is, and it's going to continue to be celebrated because of that, which is fantastic. But this little show has a lot of love to give, whether that's a romantic relationship, or a maternal relationship, or friendships, or love from within. It's a show about belonging, and the bonds that we make when we find our coven. Whether you're a human, or a witch, or a dog-like demon creature with a high-pitched voice.
Yeah, can it, Fangs! You don't know diddly dang about squiddly squat!
Or a weird door knocker owl head thing. Honestly, I don't really know what Hootie is, but he's fantastic.
Luz, you have a guest!
Hootie, no touching.
The show is really for both kids and adults, and I know plenty of people who could use a bit of its charm and optimism, as they're looking for their own tribes or looking for love, whether that's external or from within. If you're interested in helping support the channel or supporting me, there are links down below. You can check out the Patreon link if you don't know what that is. It's a way to help out the channel with as little as $1 a month, a donation. You can get your name in the credits that you see. And there are also other donation categories where you can get extra podcasts or even extra exclusive videos that just go up to Patreon. If you're watching this video on your phone or on a tablet or on your computer, sorry to those who are watching on TV, there should be a little bar right below the video that has a bunch of merchandise. There's also a link in the description for the merch store, another great way to support the channel. But I have to say thank you for watching this video and sticking around till the end. And in the meantime, my friends, keep moving forward.